Okay, so a year ago, as part of our social media program, I started listening to social media, and found a lot of our members talking about us, Anthem Healthcare, online, and talking about their specific experiences with our customer service and solving each other's problems. I put this all together into about a 3-page PowerPoint deck, took it to our head of customer service, and said, there's a conversation going on about us, and it doesn't include us, on Twitter in particular. What do you want to do about it? And the answer was, well, if there are members, we got to go to them. And that's really the end of that conversation, how we got involved in Twitter. We set up an Anthem Health handle, and we spend a lot of time monitoring a lot of forms of social media, and we've opened up Twitter as a customer service channel. So I want to get right into a use case, and I'm also here to talk about a crisis, and crisis really isn't defined in the classical way. You can have a crisis of just one person now, because individuals are that powerful. And here's an example. A lady tweeted that her daughter, who has a very rare health condition, was due for an injection. It's a drug that helps stave off viral infections of people that have weak hearts. It's $2,500 a shot. And her gripe with us is that she paid $800, and that still hadn't satisfied her commitment to us, and the drug wasn't ready the day she showed up to the doctor's office to get the shot. And then we saw this, we picked this up on Twitter, and we called her, got the situation explained, we solved it, got the drug to the doctor's office in 24 hours. And then she turns around from a very negative post up on top, you know, talking about rationing and all those bad things with reform, and then turns around and on her blog starts talking about how she's been talking with our customer service reps. They've been extending their hopes for her daughter's health, and we built a relationship out of that very negative experience. So this plays out over and over again every day with every tweet we handle. We have an amazing ability to turn people around who are very upset with us for whatever reason, and when we are open and transparent with them, make a good outcome out of it. So let's think about this. How do we retool our PR and marketing in a world where individuals have a lot of power? That woman that has the sick daughter has 10,000 Twitter followers. That's a real problem. If we don't deliver on our customer service, what happens then? You know, that's not something they teach you in PR school. Our customers are freely engaging in groups talking about us. We don't need to be there. That's important. I mean, if we don't show up, the conversation still goes on. We just don't get to play. And then traditional media is not as important anymore. It's declining. So the idea is that all these forces together start pushing marketing, advertising, and customer service together. In the old days, what you put in traditional media on Mutual of Omaha never really hit what happened in your customer service shop. That was somebody else's problem. And now that the firewall between traditional media and social media is coming down, people experience entertainment, customer service, and talk with their friends in social media in the same media they engage in customer service with. So you might be watching a video on YouTube. At the same time, you just flip over to another page and you're asking a question about how you get your health care, all on the desktop. And that's going to change the relationship between these three activities. They're no longer siloed. The other thing social media does, and speaking to ROI, is this whole thing about managing abundance. This was sort of found by accident by us, and you can take this and apply this to your business too. So think about all your customers. Everybody's over on the left in terms of your general member, your general customer you never hear about. On the right are your problem customers, the ones you spend 90% of your time working on. So in our case, it's the chronically ill, the very few people that are very ill over on the right. And on the left, it's healthy people we never hear about. So with social media, and Twitter in particular, you can reach a lot more people for less money than you can using a telephone. And when you do reach those people, it leaves a record of that interaction. So the more we use that, and the more we are transparent and leave a record of that interaction, we can start building other things like communities that we host that allow the people on the left-hand side to engage with us more frequently because it's more economical. And the idea is that left-hand side is where all the money is. The right-hand side is very difficult. These are very expensive people who require a lot of touch and a lot of handling. And this really speaks to the ROI question of how do we keep more customers over on the left, keep them healthier, engage with them more often, more economically, and then also develop tools for people on the right that are more needy, need more help. So why are we doing this? Why do we get into Twitter? Twitter especially provides us with a really good feedback mechanism. It's a very large organization, and what happens on the ground level doesn't always make it up to senior management. One of the real benefits of our engagement in Twitter is that we now have a senior member of the company, reports only one person away from the CEO, who got his hands dirty in social media and really understands it. He hears things directly from our members that surprise him occasionally. You know, your call time is an hour. He didn't know that because his reports don't tell him that every day. Transparency is key too, and this also upsets the mix in a big corporation because you've got people on customer service roles that are interacting directly with members and getting a little bit of power in their, in their area. And we're trusting them to make those interactions and leave a record in public, which isn't something most companies do. So when we're transparent, things like our call wait time, if we don't have a drug ready for a customer that's very critical at a certain time, are exposed to the public. We're working without a net, essentially. So it's not like a telephone where if you screw up, on delivering to a customer, the phone's hung up and there's no record of that interaction. We're leaving a record, and we have to be really careful how we perform. A word on ROI. It's a little difficult to do an ROI calculation because it doesn't cost us anything to join Twitter. So that fails a lot of models that exist out there. I guess the response to that ROI question is, what's the price of not getting involved? And what happens if that little girl goes without her medicine and it explodes into sort of this United Breaks Guitars kind of thing? We're not going to be ready to respond if we weren't engaged. And now we have a year of experience under our belt and some senior people that really know what they're talking about, so that when that day comes, and it probably will, somebody's going to make a cute video about us that's going to go viral. We're going to have a voice in social media because we've invested a year of our time in doing so. Real quick, I got a minute. Other things that came out of the Twitter thing, Anthem's a franchise. We only do business in 14 states, the other 50, or whatever the math is. That causes a great deal of confusion. So one of the things we do on Twitter is help direct people that aren't even our customers to other Anthem franchisees. So people will say, hey, you're at Anthem in this state, and we'll respond to, well, no, that's somebody else, but we have their name, we're going to forward them to you. So that's goodwill in social media. This one is just another extreme case. A woman tweeted us and said she's sending us a bill because we kept her on hold for so long. She was really mad. She had a right to be. And through a lot of interaction, you probably can't read it there, but the idea is she gets on a tweet. She's a social media consultant, by the way. And we had her so happy, she went in and did an interview with the Cleveland Plains Dealer, which is a pretty popular newspaper, and wrote a big, long article about how she got up to engage our SVP of customer service and how happy she was. So that's turning people around.